Hi, I'm Nancy Wolff. Welcome to Decorate Like a Pro. Today is our special holiday version where you are going to learn how to tie a fabulous bow in just a couple of minutes and then apply it to a wreath. And then on top of that, we're going to learn how to use this fabulous mesh ribbon and put it on a wreath in maybe 1 minute. Are you ready? Let's get started. All right, to begin with, we select our ribbon. Now, ribbon is available in all colors, all widths, all sizes, all lengths. And the first ribbon that I'd like to tell you about is this really wide mesh ribbon that's very, very reasonable. And that's what I used on this wreath. And I think it's fabulous, it's easy to work with, and it's pliable. So you might consider that for your wreaths and also your tree. All right, on top of that, we have small ribbon that you can buy in small little things like this. Maybe it's only 3 yards. Then we might have a wider ribbon that's almost 6 inches wide, and that will give us a really wide look. And we could layer using 2 ribbons together. Then we have this fabulous 2.5-inch wide wire edged ribbon. And the reason I like wired edged ribbon is it has the flexibility to do what I want it to. It stays, and I think that's really important, that it'll stay in position. And so I would recommend, if you're going to go out and buy ribbon, to be sure to buy wire mesh ribbon so that wire edged ribbon so that it works well for you. All right, also it comes in this little 1.5-inch, and the 1.5-inch is really wonderful if you're doing wrapping children's presents, adding a second layer possibly to this red ribbon. It's nicer to have a smaller ribbon so that you have like a little banding around the edge. And so that's the beginning of ribbon. And then also I like to tie my ribbons by having a wire, either pipe cleaner or something like that. This happens to come in a long spool, and so it works out really quite well. I can just cut it to length and use it to tie up my ribbon. So let's get started making our first bow. Okay, so we're going to need a ribbon of our choice. The pipe cleaner, and I usually cut that to about 8 to 12 inches, depending on how big of a bow I'm making, so that I have a nice wrap to tie the bow together. And of course, you're going to need your scissors. So to get started, we start with the beginning of the ribbon. This ribbon is one-sided. Sometimes you have two-sided ribbon. It makes your bow tying easier. This is one-sided ribbon, so I will have to twist it. All right, so we start out with just a nice circle in the middle, and we press our fingers together like this. And we put our pipe cleaner through like this, because this is what is going to hold the ribbon together. And I like to sometimes just twist it once so that I've got it started, it's really nice and secure. It becomes a really easy thing to do. That's the hardest part. The rest of it is just wrapping back and forth and back and forth. So let's go. We'll turn this piece because you can see that this is the back side, unless you like the back side, but I want to see that beautiful gold poinsettia on here, so we're going to turn it. And I like to create it about twice as big in the first row as the nice little center loop that I have. All right, because again that this is one-sided, we'll have to pull it together here very tightly and twist like that. Okay, so it's a twist method. All right, and bring it back to here again. You've got 2 now. Some people would be happy with this bow just the way this is, and I use this quite often on presents where we just have the simple wrap of a bow going this way once or twice. But we're going to make a really exciting bow that's going to look very much like the bow on this wreath, and so we're going to have to wrap back and forth a few more times. So the biggest secret here on the one-sided ribbon is that you have to turn it again. So I turn it again and I lift it up a little and bring it down. This time I can make it a little bit bigger. Turn and wrap and turn and wrap. Now, if you leave it on the spool like this, you can see that it's kind of curling, which is actually really nice when we begin to create the curl that's going to be wrapping around our ribbon. But it isn't so nice when I'm trying to do this because I have to keep twisting in this to make it come together. All right, so we just keep going back and forth, and you begin to move it. You see how I'm moving it a little bit down? Some people will do this all in one row and then pull them all down and up to get the roundness of the whole thing at the end. I kind of like to make it that way as I begin to do it. Again, this ribbon is a little bit stiff, some ribbons softer, so every ribbon might feel a little different when you're doing it. If you don't feel comfortable playing with it, going up and down with it, just go back and forth. You see how this gets a little tight? I love those curls though, they're really great. Okay, back and forth. Okay, and you do this about, so that you have about, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. I'd say about 7 times to get it right. So I'll just do it a couple more times. And you can, if you would like, just cut about 3 yards because that's what it takes to do something like this. So you could just cut the 3 yards off of the spool and then you wouldn't have this situation. So, all right, one more and we've got it. Okay, so now I've got the ribbon. It isn't quite the shape I want it yet, but I have to take my little tie and pull down on both sides and tie the ribbon together here. So this is a very important part because this is what holds the ribbon together. So we just tie and tie, and now you can see that it's very secure. Now it doesn't look quite like I want it to look right now. So what we'll do is play with it. It's called fluffing. We're going to fluff the ribbon by pulling it up and down. We pull one up, one down, one up, one down, one up, one down, and then that gives you the beautiful rounded ribbon that you want. And so next, we'll apply this to a wreath. All right, now we're going to apply this fabulous bow to the wreath. And I guess you can decide where you want it. If you would like to have a very symmetrical wreath with the same on each side, you could do it right in the middle. You could do it on the bottom, or you could do it asymmetrical by putting it on one side, which is the way that I showed you the silver one. So I think we'll do that again. We'll put this on one side. And I love a wreath that isn't real because I can use the wreath itself to help me fasten things. I just twist the greenery around my bow. In this case, I've got my pipe cleaner to tie to that part of it, and I just put it on one of my choice and make sure that I twist it on good so it stays, especially if you're going to hang it on your front door. All right, and here we go. So now we put it in, and one of the things about a wreath is, that, especially one that isn't real, is you need to fluff it, fluff the greenery around, and also fluff the bow that we just made. So we start out by just putting the bow on, and then we have our tails, and that will begin to create a beautiful feeling going up and down and in and out of the wreath. And so we have this left over from our 3 yards, and then we'll add one. So we'll take just a little more ribbon, and we're going to put this ribbon down this side. Okay, so I will take it off of here, and I won't cut it. I love that it's already curling. In fact, I give it a little more excitement by letting it curl because that begins to help me as I'm going to have it coming out here. Now, if your bow ended up not having enough loops or not making you happy, right here you could just add another loop or two. And that would make your bow maybe a little bit bigger if you wanted it to be that way. Okay. And if you were going to do that, then you'd use another little pipe cleaner or whatever, or you would just go ahead and use the wreath itself to tie that in. So I'm just going to do that just to show you. There we go. So now Now that gave us a little more bow, a little more dimension. And now we start to have our winding down. And just let it wind down kind of naturally. You see the bow just starts to create itself here. In fact, it's a matter of unwinding it that makes it all happen nicely. Here we go. And you don't want it to be like perfect, like this is going this way and this one's coming at a little angle this way and it begins to come down. And then you have to untwist it and make it come here. Now at the end I want it to have a tail. And so there's different ways to cut your ribbon at the end. And some people like to just cut it like this and give themselves a little angled tail. But actually what I like to do is I like to bend the ribbon in half like this and create a kind of a symmetrical tail like this. And I just cut that like that, and that creates that nice look there. All right, so this part of the ribbon, I want it to be the kind of ending focal point, because the focal point of our wreath, of course, is this beautiful bow. And there you have it on that side. And then you just repeat the same on the other side, only it's not to look exactly alike. That's the beauty of it. It's to look just kind of balanced and pretty. Okay, so here we go. We're going to put this one in. And again, I'm just going to cut this nice little, just fold it in half like this. Go from your wired edge at just a perfect little triangle. And there you have your little ribbon. Put it in here like this. If it doesn't want to stay, just use one of your green leaves from your green leaves from your wreath to make it stay. And there you are. Wasn't that fast? All right, now your wreath is complete with a beautiful bow and wonderful ornaments that have a little sparkle. But maybe, since this is Decorate Like a Pro, you may want to add one more element, like a favorite teddy bear or something that you already have at home that you may want to tie on. So again, we're going to use our wire tie, our little pipe cleaner or whatever, and we could just sit this teddy bear right in there like that. Isn't that adorable? And then tie it through to the back. And in this case, I might tie it to the wire of the wreath itself, which I'll do. We don't want the teddy bear falling off, that's for sure. All right, so it's all secured, looks adorable, and now your wreath has another element, a real Decorate Like a Pro wreath. All right, now this is what I like to say is the 1-minute bow that I promised you in the beginning of the show. Now, I like to use this decorative mesh ribbon. It's 21 inches wide. It's very flexible and pliable and really fun to use. In this case, I've cut about, I would say, 9 feet of it, and I would take it like this and hold it in half and start with where I want to be, like in the middle. And I just put it right on the wreath. And again, remember I said that we use the wreath itself to help us. Okay, so now we just create little, nice little ribbony ballooned areas. Here we go, all the way around the wreath. Really fun and easy to do. Just make it go any way you like because it looks beautiful no matter what, especially because it has so much sparkle. Just try to keep them all kind of the same, width as you do each one of them. All right, there it is. Did that take 1 minute? All right, now there's our 1-minute wreath. It looks absolutely fabulous. But again, let's add another element. Let's put our little teddy bear on there. And that might take another few seconds. We're just going to tie on the wire ribbon again, the wire pipe cleaner, and make sure he's really secure. And now that looks really fabulous. So our wreath is complete, and don't you just love it? All right, let's go over what we learned today. We learned how to make a very easy ribbon bow using in and out method of using our little tie on and everything. And we also learned how to make tails and cut them. We learned that asymmetrical design is better with odd numbers, and we came up with a beautiful wreath like this. Now, the other thing that we learned was how to use the mesh ribbon, which is very wide and very fun, in less than 1 minute. And we created this beautiful wreath and added our little teddy bear to it. So I think we had a fabulous day today, and I'm Nancy Wolff. I look forward to seeing you again, but in the meantime, happy decorating.